Well, Jill's internet has fallen out. I did give her how to phone in and have audio, but I sent an email, and if her internet's falling out, she can't read the email. So, but if you ever do have internet problems, let me know beforehand, and I can look up special number for your country, and it's free. And you dial this long number, and an automated voice comes in and says, "Put in the market, the meeting ID," which I send out, and then ignore the next request, the hash, and then you're in my waiting room. And you have to unmute by pressing *6 on your phone. And there you go. I might actually post all this. That's a good idea. I think I'll post it on Mighty Networks. So in case you have problems one day, just pick up your phone and go the phone way and have audio. You come up as a phone on my screen, I noticed. Okay, I'll make a note to post toll numbers, and I'll look up some numbers for the countries you're in. So we got, give me your countries at the moment, Ingrid. You're Denmark, aren't you?
No, I'm Norway, so it's four
Oh,
seven.
oh no, it's not your number. It's a special number. I have to send it.
Oh, sorry, it's not the number. No, 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 okay.
It's
Yeah,
a Zoom. It's a special Zoom number. Begins with plus as well. Bjorna, you're
okay.
in which country again?
It's in Norway too.
Two in Norway. Two in Norway. And Tom, where are you, Tom? Yeah,
In Germany, +49.
no, it's a special number. And Devon, you're in Germany at the moment. Okay, great. I'll put those in. So if you ever get stuck or get thrown off. Okay, so I did give my normal introduction, but we are recording. Hey, welcome everyone to the ongoing workshop, requirements for a spiritual awakening. As usual, we start with guided journey that Jill channeled from Jesus. It's a shorter one than the other two. And then we move on to the workshop. So if you like to relax, get comfortable, I'll mute you so we don't hear any noises. Just take a few deep breaths to settle yourself. Be still and breathe gently, knowing all is well. Your guides and teachers gather around you now. They are most pleased to participate in this meditation. Acknowledge their presence. You are safe and loved. There is a beautiful light descending upon you now. It may be seen as a color or no color at all. Perhaps it is a feeling that seeps into your awareness, or perhaps there is no feeling at all. Without any doubt, you are certain we are here together, joined by your faith in me, Jesus, and your love for your brothers and sisters. You may relax knowing that all is well, and you are protected from negative and unloving influences. Let's now take your awareness to the stillness within, quiet and still. Take your time. There is nothing you need to do except watch and feel. It may seem as though the quietness is a living thing, warm and soft, and breathing, drawing you in. It feels as though it's enfolding you in its gentle but powerful presence, nurturing you, loving you, protecting you. It feels familiar, a distant memory, a reoccurring dream that makes you both happy and sad. It is like a piece of music, a song from the past. You have been familiar with it, but now you cannot quite recall the notes or the words. For a moment, perhaps you think you sense it, but not quite. It has slipped away, just out of your grasp. In your mind, you hold out your arms. There is no resistance now. You are safe. Allow the memory to come to you. Have no expectations. We are all here with you. Allow yourself to dissolve into the beauty and magnificence of what you have found and what you have felt and what you have seen. Feel yourself become one with the magnificence of it, the love, the beauty, the radiance, the power, the presence. Stay with this for a little while and be thankful for where you are today. Dear blessed beings, there never was an outside of you, was there? It has always been you, only you, the love, the light, the power, and the presence. We love you and bless you, dear ones. You have given much love and light to the world and to me. We want you to know how much you too are loved. We send from these realms love and light to you, all now. As you feel the power of that love, we ask that you imagine the dear earth and allow that love and light to bless her and all beings who reside there too. You cannot know the power of the love you send. Never stop. You cannot imagine the impact you have on the world, so never doubt. As you leave this meditation, remember that you are not separate from what you experienced. It is not something that is only in the meditative state. This is who you are. Take this with you in your daily life. What you give your mind to grows. So think well of yourself and be who you really are. Ready? Just come back to the room and open your eyes. If anyone wants to briefly share from that exercise, don't have to. But I can see that Devon's having a wonderful time at the moment. You can keep your eyes closed, Devon, if you like. Your smile says everything. Anyone else? Okay. I'll just wait a little while longer just so we can stay in the energy before we move on to the workshop. Welcome back, Devon. You may not want to share, but if you want to share, you can do it now.
Yeah, no problem. It's just like from the second sentence on that you read out, I could just feel this beautiful energy in me and around me. It was like someone just flicked a switch and it just started like radiating. Um, it's very similar to this kind of tapped in feeling that I get when I'm channeling. So like there's like a difference in energy, like a connection to something. And it was just so beautiful. It was so loving and so warm and just so wonderful.
Oh,
I I would really love to do that meditation again. If you could upload that on YouTube or in Inside Time or something.
yes, it's
I
on YouTube, and I think I uploaded it to Mighty Networks, but it should be on YouTube. Yeah. And
great because that's beautiful.
I'll be interested to see if it's different for you because there's a whole group of us here evoking it, and groups magnify things. But that was lovely to hear, isn't it? And that was the second line. Perhaps I just
Yeah.
do a meditation of two lines, so that'd be all right.
Read the rest for everyone else,
It's really
please.
good. Yeah, it shows,
Oh,
because it went on a couple of lines, invite, acknowledge and welcome your guides who are all around you, and you're giving the living proof of that. That you're sensitive enough to pick it up. Gee, all this that goes on, that we're not always aware of. No, that's lovely to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we continue with the workshop, requirements for awakening. And of course, on one level, everyone wants to awaken. They're always talking about this. They try different paths, Course in Miracles, going to the church, going to ashrams. And sometimes there's a complaint like, why is it taking so long? And I'm ready to have it and let it in. But the Course is quite realistic. And there's a section called The Fear of Redemption. The fear of redemption. This is the fear of awakening. It's the fear of getting what we ask for. And unless you know about this, you can get a bit frustrated. But the more you understand it, you realize that, oh, I might only be ready for a small amount of awakening or a small amount of, though I believe, as the Course says, love waits on welcome, not on time. Like you could have it all in one go. It would probably blow a fuse in most of us. When I've had, short glimpses of unconditional love, the power that goes to the body, I could only hold it for 5 seconds. I thought I'd blow a fuse. So, what does the Course say? Yet there is one more obstacle you have interposed between yourself and the atonement, which is waking up. You're not really afraid of crucifixion. Your real terror is of redemption. What's going on here? Well, the ego fears God's love above all, yet we seem to be asking for it all the time. Because, that line in the Bible, see God and die? Well, let's turn it into see God and the ego disappears. So the cost of awakening seems to be a tremendous sacrifice because something does go, but it's only our illusions and the illusions that we're a separate being, that we're an ego and that we're in control. And who needs God anyway? Because I have enough experience to run my life now. And if you look at the ladder of trust in the teacher's manual, the first few rungs are about that. It's about, my God, I have to give up the valuable to be awakened. And just listening to your share, and Devon, at the beginning, how you're pissing off people by, speaking your truth. And you could lose them. I'm not going to speak to you again. I'm your mother. I've spent all these years bringing it up, and this is what you say to me. Goodbye. And then you lose your aunt, or your husband or your wife or your children get fed up too. So you keep it within. But as you do this, of course, the light comes in more and more. It continues, under the ego's dark foundation is the memory of God. And it is of this that you're really afraid. For this memory of God would instantly restore you to your proper place. And is this place that you sought to leave. So remember that line of the Course, into eternity where all is one, crept a tiny mad idea, which you remembered not to laugh. Could it be something different from unity? What about separation? What if I played God? What if I did my own thing? That sounds interesting. Bye, Dad, I'm off. This is the prodigal son story, of course. So you desired to leave unity and oneness to experiment. And being with God again will take you straight back there. Hang on, am I ready to leave separation? Doing my own things. I've got these wonderful plans for this year, and I'm going to Tibet next year, and I see this wonderful guy over there I like to fall in love with. You mean they're nothing compared to the awareness of heaven? God says, yes, my daughter. So we still think separation is more desirable than unity. So getting close to God frightens the pants off us. We fear to lose our specialness, our identity. It continues, you think you've made a world of God, you think you've made a world God would destroy, and by loving him, which you do, you would throw this world away. which you would. There it is. You can't have both. You can walk in this world with the awareness of heaven, but nothing attracts you anymore. You don't have a preference. You prefer tea over coffee or jeans over a sari, no big deal. Conditioning runs still a bit. So once you experience, the love of God in your heart, and again, Devon was referring there to picking up on that energy, then the offerings of this world will start to look more and more like dust. There can be some sadness at this point, like, you spend this life and God knows how many other lives chasing every dream of separation under the sun. And I'm being asked to leave it. And I may have mentioned it before, but it's a good story from Ajay Shanti, that American teacher. And he was at a wedding, and it was a happy wedding, and the children were playing, and the parents were so pleased, and the cakes were good, and the food was good. And he tends to eat a lot, so he went up for his seconds, and he looked back at the whole scene, and then suddenly he knew he'd gone beyond it. All the things he saw people finding important at that moment evaporated, and he felt this wave of nostalgia go through him that he'd lost this whole section of life. What he gained, was more peace, more joy, but he noticed the nostalgia. Like, I can never get their sort of happinesses and their pains and their sadnesses about what they're doing. It's gone. And it reminded me of one of the early Castaneda books, Journey to Ixtlan, where they're supposed to be true stories, where Don Juan, who's the student, he had an awakening. And again, he had to shift. Everything had shifted, and what he found important wasn't. And he lived in a place called Ixtlan, and he was walking back to it. But he said, I know I will never reach there. He would reach the town, but what he would find in the town would no longer appeal. All this is there, on the path of awakening. Therefore, you have used the world to cover your love, and the deeper you go into the blackness of the ego's foundation, the closer you come to the love that is hidden there. And it is this that frightens you. So as you progress with your forgiveness and you welcome the darkness that you find inside, the desire to kill or murder or torture people even, or have power over them, and you keep walking, and you forgive, and you start to smile at your desire to sort of kill your mother or something, you just keep walking. You go through the darkness, and at the other end is, beneath the basement is the love. And at that point, it's the death of the ego. There's a line in the Course, can't quote it exactly, that says, when the light comes, you will run to the darkness. So there'll be several attempts until you eventually walk into the light and you come out of it not the person who walked in. But now you're a blessing to the world. The Holy Spirit runs everything. Choices are gone. You just know what to say and what to do every moment. And you're a benediction, a blessing, and you touch everyone that you meet. And you'll piss off some people as well because they don't like peaceful people. They can't be controlled by guilt. So that's what Jesus experienced as well. Those that loved him, those who wanted to kill him. So, above all, we want awakening, and it turns out to be our greatest fear. Any comments or sharings on that? Few nods going on here. Okay. Oh, dear. Yeah, when I look back at my life, I see these series of movements and then plateaus, and then the next movement and another plateau. And up here, I suddenly have nothing in common with my friends, and they leave me, and I'm on this plateau, and then I get married, and then she finds nothing in common with me and leaves. And I only knew her family back on a plateau. I don't know anyone again. But my vibration's gone up, so other people come in and I climb that plateau, and it's, the whole thing just keeps going and going until all the illusions dissolve.
That sometimes I wonder, with the Course in Miracles, you're not a body, you're free, you're just as God created, just as God created me. And then we are here on this playground where there's so many pens. Like we have food, you have tastes, you have touch, you have all these things connected to the body. That is very interesting. And sometimes I was thinking this morning, as a Course in Miracles student, am I supposed to because I noticed different food and stuff. I don't think it's so much fun. I love to enjoy it if other prepare it and stuff, but I feel like it's just something you have to keep doing in a way. But then but I love fruits, vegetables, going in the garden, eating and stuff. But this is all sensory stuff. And I guess I was thinking, am I to let this go? So I'm attached to the illusion in a way. And sometimes I feel a bit like, I don't know if you've seen Matrix,
Yep.
and this guy who takes the red pill and the blue pill, and then this guy who takes the blue pill, he knows it is an illusion, but he likes it anyways.
Yeah.
So he take I'll go with the blue pill, and he has sitting with the steak and eating it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So I'm just gonna stay.
Yeah, I remember that scene well. In fact, he goes
Yes.
back to the dream to
Yes, he goes
experience all these
to the
things.
dream.
I
Yeah.
don't get good steaks where I am. I want to go back in the illusion and get a steak. Yeah.
Yes.
That's life. That's reincarnation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Back and back and back. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a section in the workbook that talks about the middle way. It says, and Jesus warns about this. It says some have made the mistake of being ascetic and shunned everything of the world. And then there's the other side, the hedonist, that gets totally lost in the pleasures of the world. And he says both are not appropriate and nothing sinful. That I ask of you to walk the middle way, which means enjoy food, enjoy music, enjoy a sunset. I saw a survey once that said the greatest number of mystical experiences occur at sunset and sunrise when there's beauty in the world, a reflection of heaven here. Not heaven, but it's reflection. So, and Jesus through Tina speaks about this time to time, said, no, enjoy, just don't get lost in it, like the hedonist, and don't become an ascetic and put on a hair shirt and never enjoy anything again. You're lost again. It says both of them are making the world real. You're making the error real by overindulgence and complete abstinence. It says walk the middle way. There you go, Ingrid. You can go on enjoying yourself now. Yay! Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Here we go again. And the other
I,
everything's neutral. So you can eat food and cook food with such beauty and love. You benefit yourself and others. And at Findhorn, they always try to put love into the food and bless the food and enjoy the food. They say it changes the vibrations of the food and benefits your health as well. So yeah, good old middle way. Buddha said the same, didn't he? Go the middle way. He tried the ascetic path, a grain of rice a day. And then this woman came along and fed him a good meal. And he thought, hang on, I don't think I've been following the right path. I think I give up all this asceticism nonsense. And he really pissed off all his ascetic disciples because he was the epitome of the ascetic. He said, no, guys, this is not the way. This is not the way. Anyone else?
Yeah, and also, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. Carry on, Ingrid. What you stop?
No, I've just been thinking since I've been doing this tantric massage class now for the last kind of education, and it's connected to pleasure in the body,
Yep.
but it's not connected to like it's not personified. It's like you trigger a receptive, like enjoyable sense in the body, and you don't project it onto a person. I think that's the point of it in a
Mm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting to look at how the mind is working.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
this is kind of like a good meal instead of a bad meal.
Yeah.
It's sort of like it's the same. And so I was thinking a lot about the for me it's been really because I felt like this it's been like a urge for me to explore this like those senses, and then I see that so easily to project it onto other people, and I guess that's like of the world. But then I'm thinking also the body is also of the world, but I guess the life force is kind of divine. I don't know. That would be interesting with a comment.
Yeah. I'd be rereading a, a great teacher, really, a guy called Dada Gavand. It's unbelievable what he did. He left his rich life in his family, he had high status, but he was unsatisfied. He ended up in a small hut, 2 meters by 3 meters, halfway up a mountain for 7 months. He just had water and rice that he used to boil up. He had no books, no smartphones, and he spent the whole time looking at his mind. And he went through hell at the beginning. Huge sexual fantasies came up, sorrow for leaving his mother, fear he never knew was there. But he got to know his mind more and more. He had an explosive awakening at the end, out of nowhere. And he said, "What I realized that we have an energy, and our thinking takes most of it. It just draws it. And as you began to think less and less, this energy was more available for a feeling of well-being or insight. So I didn't realize how much energy we lose on our endless thinking and judgments. Um, Now he doesn't use his mind except for functional things, um, driving a car, a computer. And his autobiography, he was called Intelligence Beyond Thought. And then when he dialogues with people, the answers just come without him thinking. We would call it the Holy Spirit. But he says, I now have all the energy that will allow this to happen that I wasted with all my thinking and judgment. There you go. Anyone else before we move on? Okay. Another thing that comes up in the course about awakening can be summed up by saying, don't get in its way. God wants to wake you up, um, but we think we have to help. And it's that which can get in the way. I'll give God a helping hand. I'm sure that will speed the whole process up. The Course says, all that is asked of you is to make room for truth. You're not asked to make or do what lies beyond your understanding. All you're asked to do is let it in, only to stop your interference with what will happen of itself. Simply to recognize again the presence of what you thought you gave away. I sometimes think of a friend I knew who was quite impatient, and when we go to my car to get in, at the moment I'm trying to unlock it, he was pulling the handle, and that would counteract what I was trying to do with my key. And I just say, could you just stand back, do nothing? And then I'd unlock the car and he could get in. He was trying to help, I don't know. And another one that's often given is like we're children frightened alone in a room. And on the other side of the door is our loving parents. And they just want to come in and sweep us up in their arms. And you hear them coming. So you grab hold of the doorknob, and on the other side, they're grabbing hold of the doorknob, and no one can get the door open. The child's been asked to just do nothing and let it come. You make it difficult because you insist there must be more that you need to do. You find it difficult to accept the idea that you need to give so little to receive so much. Now, in this world, we're told, the harder we work, the more we get. If you want to be a doctor, there's a lot of hard work there. So the more effort you pile in, the better the return. But this can be counterproductive, it's saying here, in spirit. It's more to be like the little child that's trusting and knows it'll be helped by its parents. We don't have to go up to mum and explain her how to cook a meal. We don't have to go up to mum and tell her how to make the bed. She knows those things. And elsewhere in the course, I think, yes, it's in the next line actually about being insulted. And it's very hard for you to realize it is not personally insulting that your contribution and the Holy Spirit's are so extremely disproportionate. Just a tiny willingness, a little bit of forgiveness can bring it all in. We give 1%, Holy Spirit gives 99%. You're still convinced that your understanding is powerful contribution to the truth and makes it what it is. Yet we've emphasized that you need understand nothing. But surely the Holy Spirit needs my help. But the Course describes us as driven mad by guilt. How can the mad help the Holy Spirit? This can be quite annoying when you spend your whole life studying spiritual subjects. You brought up in your mind a huge amount of intellectual knowledge. You can quote from almost anything. You know spirituality back to front, and you're still not awake. Adyashanti noticed this amongst his students. It truly did not matter in the slightest whether you were brand new or you'd meditated for 40 years. All that matters was this purity or clarity of your intention, the intention to wake up, and your willingness to let go of everything you knew just for a second, just for a split second. And when you're ready to do that, then so much became possible. All the teachers I studied that I liked in the Course said the number one requirement is to desire awakening above all else. But he saw the second one was get out of the way. Let all your knowledge go. Let all your books go. Let all your workshops go. Become as a little child. Then it can come in. But to let it all go for most of us is practicing forgiveness. All the thoughts we carry, all the judgments we carry. There is, however, no set pattern since training is a highly individualized. So even if we're all Course in Miracles students, we walk it differently. Paths are individual. If you spent your life being an ascetic, you might be guided to go out and eat an abundance of good food. If you believe, like we see in Christianity, that sex will get in your way, so you tend to be celibate most of your life, you might find yourself going out and making love to everyone you can until you get back into balance. While another one who spent their life making love to everyone they can may be told to be celibate for a while and see what happens. So as I was told by a guide once, Michael, you're certainly not capable of designing a means to awakening. I tell you, in my 20s, where I read so many books and I'd take out all the extracts of my own book and I'd carry it around. This was the path to awakening. Look, I've taken all the best bits. This will do it. Didn't get me anywhere for some reason. Humility is needed above all else. I don't. And I'll just use forgiveness to quiet my mind, and then I can listen to the voice that will tell me to get up, have a nice piece of cake, don't eat the cake, go for a walk. No, do this instead. and I'll take you home. But you have to listen to me. But to listen to me, you'll have to clear your mind, and you'll need to use forgiveness to get the mind quiet. Then you'll hear me. Then I'll take you home. Any reflections, comments?
Yes. Something that just came to my mind as you finished there is that oftentimes I also feel like I still just need to experience things, or like a great many things. I don't know. But there's always this feeling of like wanting to jump ahead, and it's like, oh, I don't need this anymore. And I'm so beyond this, and the world doesn't matter. And but even especially since I'm back here with my family, I notice there's still so much to learn, so much to do, so much to experience. And even though there's a strong will, a strong um, desire, maybe, I don't know, to be more peaceful and to give up more and more and more, there's still things that, yeah, just have to be experienced, and I can't force that. I can't push that out of the way. It's part of being here. And that was also a, yeah, a realization that I had very recently. It's like I just have to play the game. Like I signed up for this game. I want to be here to learn certain things, and I just I can't skip ahead too much. So yeah. And I also notice a lot of things naturally do fall away once I have done them.
Mm, mm.
You know? I was thinking when Ingrid was talking earlier about food and should I or shouldn't I often notice like part of me knows I shouldn't eat so much, or I shouldn't be stuffing myself with sweets, but there's a part of me that wants to. That's just so like I just want to do it, and at some point it kind of just naturally falls away. So I think sometimes there's also just a leaning in into the humanity and the experience, and then it actually
Yeah.
becomes less and less important.
That's
That
nice.
was my share.
Thank you. That reminded me of my own teacher once, Kenneth Wapnick, saying some people really have to go into something, and it could be painful, and your intervention could stop their progress. And he talked about a guy who was an alcoholic, and he didn't know he was an alcoholic, and he'd get worse and worse, and then we try and help him, and we would, and in the end, we had to let him just. One day he woke up in the gutter, literally. He said, "Oh my God, I'm an alcoholic." And that was the turnaround. And sometimes you have to do this with your children as well. Um, I got one child who's going more and more depressed, and he's drinking and doesn't want to listen to me. And I think, oh, it's a hard path. But I think she may have to hit bottom, really experience everything and that. And then on the sort of the spiritual side, I think I've mentioned this before, but it's a good story. At the time I was interested in studying with a teacher called Jack O'Keefe, and she describes her teachings as end of the line, and it's the last place you come before you give up all teachers. And she had some people come to her that had satsangs, and they've been coming to this type of satsangs for like 10, 15 years. And she said to them once, "Why do you keep coming?" "Oh, we've seen through the world, Jack, and its pleasures and its powers. That's why we come." "But you keep coming. You've been coming for 15 years." "Yes, yes." And then she started to chat to them individually, and she said to one, "Look, you suppressed all your sexuality. Get out there, screw as many as you can, and then when you're fed up, come back to my session." And another one who was a bit unempowered said, "You're yearning to experience power. Go out, do it, see what happens. And when you've had enough of it, come back here. No, I don't want to see you anymore. You're just hiding out in satsang." And there you go.
Love that story. It's so good. Yeah.
And that was
Mm.
me, actually. I mean, by the age of 26, I'd had sex with one person, my wife. And I was looked upon as the noble and ethical and all sorts of things. I mean, not that I didn't like women, but that was it. And then she took the kids, left me, moved in with the guy next door, and I went, hang on, what happened? And then I met, I went to think, and then I found this Buddhist community down the road. Those girls were different from my wife. And the pendulum just crashed the other way. I have sex that was with any female that moved, and I didn't know that was in me. I just had no idea. I ended up in with a partner, Barbara, for 16 years. We were in open relationships. Boy, did I have a lot of sex. No idea that was in me. I think I had so many lines as a monk. And and then I came out, the pendulum sort of went to the middle again. But there you go.
It kind of also reminds me of moving away from the head and moving more into the heart, kind of just moving more with what feels good and right. And it may not make sense to the head, but on a larger scale of things that may still be to come or what we're supposed to experience, it makes a whole lot of sense. And it just kind of reminds me of what you said with like I mapped out this way of awakening, all these things that I should need to do or shouldn't do to awaken. And it's like if we just get out of the way and we just kind of let ourselves be intuitively guided, like the guidance system that Tina always talks about with Jesus, this innate guidance system, then we're much better served, I think.
I think so too. And you bring back an Adja story that I laugh. He said, sometimes this would happen in my groups. Someone who'd been coming to my satsangs for a long time would sort of bring a friend along who had no interest actually in spirituality, but was sort of wondering about life and awakening, and they had no knowledge, not read the books, and they were almost dragged along to Adya. And so they sat there, never heard anything like this before, and he watched it happen more than once. The person had a major awakening. And then the fun was to watch the friend saying, what? You've been meditating for 20 years. You come here, you sit down, you wake up, you've read nothing. I was so angry. And he said, I saw that more than once. This guy leaves and thanks Ajay. He said, oh, I feel at peace now. I see. He was open. He was ready. And he'd read nothing. Bugger. All the rest of us are studying all the books. We've done our 10 hours of meditation. Oh, but unless you become as little children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. Who said
That's
that?
wonderful.
Who said that?
Yeah.
Well, perhaps we should do an exercise and forgive someone and get closer to heaven. What do you think? Okay. So unless there's any more sharings or questions, we'll do a little exercise.
I
So
would
I'm
need,
wondering if
I think you were
sorry,
ahead.
so.
Evan, you were 2 seconds ahead of Tom.
I
Um,
just wanted to say I would need to go to the bathroom real quick.
go
I
now.
will be right back.
See you
Okay.
soon. Okay. Can't ruin the meditation with a bladder. Tom, what were you going to say?
So I'm wondering if fear and desire goes together. So for me, it seems to be like when I go to where I'm afraid of, then and experience. Okay, actually, there's nothing to be afraid of. It's not when I do it intellectually, it does not work. But when I really experience, oh, I don't need to be afraid of. Then it sinks in, and then also the desire is going less. So that's why I'm wondering if that goes together, fear and desire.
Yeah, when I think about it, I mean, one of the fears would be I'm not going to get what I desire. I desire a lot of money. I haven't got any. I fear I won't get it. So that would be automatically with desire, is not getting what you desire. Um, that's one aspect I'm thinking of. Anyone else that got an aspect? Yeah, it has to go together, doesn't it? I desire all this, and what if I don't get it? Or if I might get it and then I might lose it. So I get the money and then your fear is going to be taken from you. So rich people are always afraid that they're going to lose it, so they have to get more money.
Yeah, and for some reason, I am afraid of it because I think it has some value or it has some truth in it. So I make it real, and there's the desire also. Maybe that or no. I'm making it real because I think it's real. There's some kind of desire, and that also creates the fear because
Yeah, when I was reading Dada Gavan the other
um,
day, he said the seed of sex is thought. He says your sexual desire actually comes from a thought. So we make things real by our thoughts. And then once we made them real, like, that sounds good. I like to have that. The desire comes, then it'd be the fear of, I might not get it, or if I get it, I might lose it. That's the way I would see it. I mean, the Buddha said that the second noble truth of Buddhism is desire. When you walk around in desire, you will be in pain. It's interesting because at the same time they say uh, to want awakening above all will draw it to you. But it mustn't be the needy, grasping desire, which you see in spirituality sometimes. Like, I'm still not awake. If I double my meditations and eat better food and have two crystals under my pillow, then maybe I'll get awake by the end of the week. And the week comes and, oh God, it hasn't happened. Maybe I go vegan and do more meditation. This is the needy, grasping spiritual desire. Um, while the Course is talking about a much more innocent thing. Like, yes, of course, I want to go home. I'm the prodigal son, I want to go home. I think we have our friend back, Miss iPad. Yes, there she is. Okay, if you like to close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Imagine a beautiful light shining down upon you, the lights of love and wisdom, filling your body, your mind and heart. At the same time, you call in your guides, your helpers to be around you, to accompany you on the exercise. Hold their hands if you want. And you can ask them, or you can come up with someone yourself where you've lost your peace. Maybe somebody on television, a politician, somebody who's died, someone close to you. Can't think of anyone, just think of someone who upset you at times. And try and see them or feel them in front of you. It's all right if you feel angry or sad or attacking as you see them. And you may feel very different from them. But ask yourself, are you both seeking for happiness? Are you both seeking for peace? And maybe you're doing it in crazy ways. person in front of you seems so different, and yet you share the same Christ, the same eternal formless spirit, covered over by thoughts, covered over by body. See the light you brought into yourself shining down upon them. And they start to feel it. You see them relax. You see them perhaps smile a little. And you realize you want them to be different. You want them to change so you can feel more comfortable. And you also know they're your teacher as well. Otherwise, they couldn't upset you. And as the light pours in, you see them relax more and smile more, and they start to remember just a little bit that they are spirit, and all their crazy behavior doesn't serve them. And then say to them, I have no right to ask you to act differently. I have no right to ask you to be different than the way you are. You're trying your best to find peace in ways that don't work, and surely I do that as well. I have no right to ask you to be different. And now you see their pain as a call for love. And the love you give to them will be the love you give to yourself. So now send out a healing prayer. Ask that they receive healing, they receive peace, they find a better way to be. And what you give them, you'll give yourself. And you see them start to soften and relax. And when you look at them again, you realize, yes, they are my teacher. They upset me for some reason. They mirror something in me. In fact, I need people like you to show me what's in my subconscious. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what to heal. Perhaps you could say to them, thank you for being the mirror that I need to grow. If you can, just go over and give them a hug. If you can't, that's all right too. Perhaps you could say, thanks for being my teacher. And when you feel ready, accept as far as you've got and come back to the room and open your eyes. In a moment, I'll just set up the breakout rooms. Choose A and B. A talks for 5 minutes and B listens. B is a timekeeper, and then we switch over at 5. In 10 minutes, I'll say stay in for 2 more minutes, and then the rooms will be closed and you'll come back. So I'll move you into the breakout rooms now. Right. Tom pressed the wrong button, so he's finished in his sharing. Is that enough, Tom? Do you want some more time?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, before
Yeah.
we close, does anyone want to share briefly from that exercise with the group? All feeling content as far as you got?
I just have to say I'm in sharing mode today. I'm pushing myself to be to talk more. Um I noticed that a lot of the grievances that I have with my mother that are really peeing me off at the moment are really beautiful mirrors for where I'm still holding myself back or where I'm still doing the old thing that I thought I had outgrown. And she's kind of like how I grew up and where I started, how I came in, then I went away. I just just briefly, I left home 8 years ago and did my own thing, and now I'm back, and I see that there's still some stuff left that I haven't gotten fully on top yet. And she's just this painful reminder that these fears and doubts are still there,
Uh-huh.
deep inside of me, these little things, like just one example, money is, a big one. Like here is a lot the mentality of I don't have enough and there is not enough. Whereas in recent years, I've made it a mission to work on my mindset and work on I have enough and I am supported. And I just notice the longer I stay here, I'm just more and more confronted with it. I can't outrun it. People here don't change as fast or as quick, Everyone can change, of course, but I can feel it. It's still here. It's so ingrained, and I'm upset with it because a part of me still thinks, what if I don't have enough? And every time she brings it up, I'm like, oh, don't you remind me of that. I thought I was past it. So that came up for me. And so I'm really grateful for the exercise. I thought that was very, very precious to realize that.
Mm.
Yes.
Oh, lovely. Thanks. Keep sharing, Devin. You're great. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks. Oh, and one more thing. I'm also so grateful for these calls, and I thank everyone here for being here. It feels such like homecoming, like being with friends, like being with like-minded people. And I cherish this a lot, and I've just got a lot of love this morning. It's a great way to start the day. So
Oh,
thanks, everyone.
thanks, Devin.
Thanks, Michael.
Fiona, you want to say
Yeah.
something?
I can say a few things because I was with Devon now, and she was first, and she had a little bit of this with money, like you just did now. And when I was starting this exercise here, I didn't think of any person, so I put the money there.
Right.
Yes, and it's a lot of ego connected to the money, fears and hopes and desires and
Mm.
greed, and it's been learning me it's been teaching me a lot on the way to
Right.
get rid of fear, not having a fixed income, and all these things.
Yeah.
A lot of trust on the way. So yeah, it's a lot I could say, but that's it. And maybe one workshop later, here, Michael, you should have the money issue as a theme
Oh.
of the day.
Yes, I have taught that in workshops, and with a lot of help from Kenneth Wapnick, who had some good insights. But I suppose in a way we're doing, requirements for awakening. But if your mind's totally obsessed by money, it's going to block awakening. So we could throw it in at some point. We're doing money. Yeah.
The symbol that came from when I was working now, it was a money tree, you know. And I
Yeah.
opened my eyes and I have a lovely money tree just in front of
Yeah.
the window there.
Well, it's no accident you two were paired up together. Okay. Yeah, fine. Anyone else before we close?
So for me, it was also about not about money directly, but it was related to what Jana was saying. It was more about people in my company, and they represent this greed for money, and so. And that was very helpful. And I was already saying that it was a very short and crisp session, and it was great to see that it was still working for me. So and it helped me a lot when you were saying this. They are looking for peace in ways that don't work, and I'm doing the same. That brought the peace in for me.
Yeah. The first time I came across that thought was years ago when I was reading my spiritual books. It was a spiritual master, and he said the definition of sin is looking for happiness in the wrong direction. I thought, oh, that's a nice way of putting it. So we're all sinners, yeah. But that's all it is. And of course, that the origin of the word sin is interesting. The root of it is it's an archery term. And when it was used 2,000 years ago, or before that, it was the term meant missing the mark. You fire the arrow and you miss the mark, and that was a sin. No big deal. You missed the target, try again. It's not, go to hell forever and be burnt. It's you missed the mark. And then the church got hold of it and just amped it up so it could control us, and get us guilty and get us under their power, I'm afraid. Anyone else? Okay, been lovely being with you. Pity Joe couldn't make it this time, but I'll post that stuff about calling in by phone if you ever have internet problems. And I'll post you all the numbers all around the world on a PDF so you can look up your own number. They give about 4, but I tried it this afternoon. I just tried the one for Australia and I got straight through to my own recording, so it works well. Okay, lovely people. Lovely being with you. And hope to see you in a month's time.
Yeah, lovely to see you all and listen and see you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. That was great.
Nice day.
Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.